might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof.
Hey guys, we're going to go over some of the blanks. What I want you to do is fill in the blanks in the examples here and then work on numbers 1 through 10. Here's our first thing to remember. When adding and subtracting fractions, you first must find a common denominator. You can find this by using the butterfly method or finding the least common multiple. Here's your first example. 1/3 plus 2/7. If I do the butterfly method, I'm doing 7 times 1 is 7. 3 times 2 is 6. And our bottom, where it's behind, is 21. 7 21st plus 6 21st equals 13 21st. Your second example is finding the least common denominator. To find the least common denominator, you can list the multiples of the two denominators. Here's your example. 1/4 plus 2/3. I'm going to list the multiples of 3 and the multiples of 4. To find one that they have in common, that's the smallest multiple. 12 is the smallest multiple of 3 and 4. What you do to the top, you got to do down below. That's what we call the fraction flow. So I multiplied 4 by 3 to get 12, so I had to do that to the top. 1/4 is an equivalent fraction to 3/12. I multiplied 3 by 4 to get 12, so I have to multiply 2 by 4 to get 12. So I get 3/12 plus 8/12 equals 11/12. You can pause this video anytime you need to if I'm going too fast. The next example is adding or subtracting whole numbers with fractions. When adding and subtracting mixed numbers, you simply bring down the whole number and add or subtract the fractions like normal. If you cannot subtract the fractions, you may have to borrow from the whole number. Here's our example. 12 and 1/9 minus 7 and 1/3. I'm first going to bring down the whole numbers, 12 and 7. I then have to find a common D, which is going to be 9. This was already 1/9, so I kept it. I had to multiply this by 3, so I multiplied the numerator by 3. I can't subtract 3 from 1, so I had to borrow. This becomes 11, and I had to add 9 to 1 to get 10. So now I have 11 and 10/9 minus 7 and 3/9, which gets me 4 and 7/9. The next example is finding a sequence with fractions. To create a sequence with fractions, first write the term in the sequence as equivalent fractions with a common denominator. Then you can compare the equivalent fractions to find the rule used to make the sequence of fractions. Here's my example. 2 and 2/3, 3 and 1/2, my missing number, 5 and 1/6, and 6. My first step is to find the common denominator between 3, 2, and 6. That's going to be 6. So I wrote equivalent fractions with 6. 2 and 4/6, 3 and 3/6, blank. 5 and 1/6, ooh! Notice my 6 whole is going to be written as 5 and 6/6. I just got to look at 2 consecutive terms to figure out what is happening between my 2 terms. This one's the easiest to look at. It's not going up by 1 whole, it's going to go up by 5/6. So if I look at these 2 consecutive terms, I can tell it's 5 and 1/6 and 5 and 6/6. I know it's not going up by 1 whole, but it is going up by 5/6. So our rule is add 5/6 each time. Now I just need to apply it. So I'm going to take 3 3/6 plus our rule, 5/6, and I get 3 8/6. That's an improper fraction. I have to rewrite that as 1 2/6. So 1 2/6 plus 3 is 4 2/6. And if you want to be even better, you can reduce it to 4 1/3. Now, you are going to work on numbers 1 through 10 on your study guide. Go. Show your work.
I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Hey, go. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too high to bring me down. Can't none bring me down. I said, bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too high to bring me down. Can't none bring me down. I said, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room